Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Red Cartel. The international break is upon us. Gives the Liverpool fans a little bit of respite as well, if I'm honest, because we didn't have the best week in world football over the last, 7 or 8 days. So, yeah, it's nice to be able to take a breath, take a breather, kind of put things into a little bit of context again. But I am here with another panel of cartel members. We've got Dan United back in the building, we've got Dan Potts, and we've got Just D from Fan Zone TV. Lads, Dan, as we just went about to go live, you was just giving us a bit of a rundown of the England team. They are playing tonight. So if you just want to keep any of the people in the chat up to date with that, what does that England under Tuchel side look like at this moment in time?
A mess. A mess. Jordan Pickford in goal, Kyle Walker, Konza, Dan Burn, and Lewis Skelly as a back four. Then we've got a midfield two of Curtis Jones and Declan Rice with Bellingham just ahead. Rashford and Foden either side, and Harry Kane up top. I think he's missed a skip there to play some decent lads who I think deserve a chance after the season they've had, but it's what it is. It's England.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Again, as a Liverpool, I haven't really got that higher stocks in international games, especially when they're kind of just like friendlies or warm-ups to a big tournament. Don't mind getting into the fanfare when a tournament's happening and you've got the Euros or you've got the World Cup. Obviously, you want the lads to do well and obviously make a good account for themselves. But any of you guys got any initial thoughts on what's with the appointment of Tuchel? And then also, have you got any thoughts on, England's chances of getting one step further now and lifting some silverware?
I was happy with the Tuchel appointment, but I've got to be real. If that squad was announced and that 11 was announced under Southgate, people would be going mad, So I'm a bit surprised that he's gone with the likes of Jordan Henderson and Kyle Walker, who are going to be 36 by the time the next tournament comes around. What is the point of that? When you've got Livramento, you've got Morgan Rogers, you've got Morgan Gibbs-White, you've got players that, let's be real, everybody wants to see in an England shirt. I'm done with the Kyle Walker and Jordan Hendersons of this world. I want to see the next generation, right? So I find it a little bit bizarre, if I'm honest with you. I like the fact that Lewis Skelly's got the nod. So he's kind of gone with, yeah, you deserve it, but we're going to bring Jordan Henderson in. No disrespect for Jordan Henderson. He's wonderful for Liverpool in the last decade, but let's be real. You don't want to be seeing him lining up for England now, do you? So that one's a little bit strange for me. England have got an unbelievable squad, They've got an unbelievable squad. But the state of that back line, it looks a little bit strange, if I'm honest with you. What is it, Konza and Dan? I mean, I don't mind Konza, to be fair. Konza and Dan Burn.
Billy
Dan
loves him. Billy absolutely loves him.
Yeah,
world-class Konza.
I just don't know, man. I find that Walker and Henderson is a bit of a strange one to pick. I'm all for like winning now, but when it's like this, you kind of want to see the future and mold them in now, don't you? And it's crazy, man. I will say, I think it's mad that Trent is 25 and he's hardly kicked a ball for England. That is mad, isn't it? That is absolutely mad. Crazy. So, anyway,
really is.
That's what I think.
Fair play. And I think, you share a lot of the same thoughts as me, to be honest with you, in terms of what you kind of expect from an England side now. It should be an opportunity to really just double down on the youth. Let the youth have a shot at it. I'd even throw Kane. I'd go as far to throw Kane in that. But there probably is an argument to say there isn't really a striker on the fringes that could probably do the job that Kane can still do. You mentioned Jordan Henderson, you mentioned Kyle Walker. I think they're past their best, and there are players that can come in and do, if not a good job, a better job than what they do. I still think Kane's probably the one where I wouldn't particularly at this point want to build a squad around him, but I understand having someone with that level of quality in your firing line can still be the difference.
You can't ignore the guy, mate. I mean, like, it's that, isn't it? You can't ignore the goal scoring that Kane's got behind him. Even this season, how many goals he's got this season? It's a joke. And I know it's Germany, I know that, but I wouldn't feel confident if we were starting the tournament today and it was Solanke up top for us. I just wouldn't feel confident. I don't think Solanke's the guy for me. So until we get that generational striker come through and do something, and by the way, Man United potentially had him before he turned out to be a rotten egg. I think we're potentially going to struggle with that. It's bizarre that as a country we haven't really got anyone young, like really bursting onto the scene and finishing. Do you know what I mean? Like we're all old enough to remember, for my part, it was Shearer back in the day. Then it was Owen that come through. Then it was Rooney. Then it was Kane. I don't see that caliber of striker coming through for England.
Even the likes of Defoe, Sturridge, even Crouch put on an England shirt and did a decent enough
There was
job.
loads there, all that people forget.
Emil Heskey, Robbie Fowler, a short period of time. There was enough top guys up front that had moments, and obviously we didn't get the best out of them, but respectively, they still had quality.
There's no one that's actually not better than Kane, but that's actually pushing him to the level. Because even players like Watkins and stuff like that, if Watkins is competing with John Duran, then that shouldn't be a competition. You should have outs that easy. That shouldn't be a debate of who should be starting. Because if Kane was at Aston Villa, he wouldn't be competing with John Duran. It's as simple as that. So I think that's what it comes down to. Who's actually the person?
Liam Delap, innit? It's literally Delap. That's it. No one else.
And even he, I mean, he's playing well, but what level is he really playing at? Are we like he's not even playing as good as Callum Wilson when he was at Bournemouth? You know what I mean?
He just battles, doesn't he? And he's in a team that's at the bottom of the table. He's going to scrap for everything up there. So I think that's why it amplifies with him. I just don't. I agree. I don't see any striker at the moment, an English striker that's really pushing the fact that Kane shouldn't be there. And by the looks of it, you could probably see Kane continuing to be the starter for England for at least 3 or 4 years. Yeah, easily.
What happened to Ferguson? What's happened to even Ferguson?
Yeah, again, I don't know. He seems to be.
He's Irish, isn't he?
He's Irish.
Sorry,
he is Irish. To be fair, but in terms of Liam Delap, I don't really know where. Again, as I say, is he the type of player you build a squad around, or is he a good plan B to have in a in a cup competition, in a World Cup? You've got him as a plan B, a secondary option.
But Errol, the one that completely buggered it for himself was Tony. Tony going and playing in Saudi. If Tony's still in the Prem, he's scoring goals. He's probably one of the ones that you'd say, I wouldn't mind seeing him start up top. He's strong, battles like mad. He's great with his positional work. So he would be the only one. And like again, he's banging them in the Saudi league, but it's the Saudi league. Do you know what I mean?
I think Tony, Watkins, and Delap. I prefer all of them to Solanke.
100%.
I think
definitely easily.
Solanke's all right, but he ain't for me nowhere near. And then after that, who have you got? Like,
and it's
Tammy Abraham. That's what
I mean. But it's about like
levels, like
you got Nketiah.
You think?
Eddie, yeah, exactly. Crazy, isn't it?
That's where you're going next.
You think there are certain times when you've got like wide forwards, you can almost sacrifice the guy through the middle if you've got good enough inside forwards that will still score and be in it. So the likes of having a Saka really on one side, potentially a Rashford on his heyday, or a Jadon Sancho, or somebody else of that ilk on that. But them themselves, again, obviously Saka being the outlier in the sense that obviously he's been injured this season. The other numbers aren't good enough to say, well, you can have a false nine in there and someone that will knit it all together to be a bit of a facilitator. We don't even really have that in England, to the best of my knowledge anyway. Doesn't really seem to be that. I know Cole Palmer is a little bit of a hybrid of that.
I don't know. I think around the striker, we're right. Saka, Gordon, Palmer, Foden, Bellingham. I think we're talented, but that striker is literally Kane, and that's it. Like Watkins is good to come on and have, like he did in the Euros. But after that, it's a bit dead. And then, you look at the back line and maybe you're starting to look at it again. But I think we've got some young players coming through, like Livramento, Lewis Hall, Lewis Skelly. Obviously, at the back, you've got Jared Branthwaite and Mark Gare, who I think will probably be the pairing moving forward now. Let's be real. I mean, it's never going to be the golden generation. Like, the squad's better than it was back then, but the actual golden generation 11 was unreal. How we never won anything with that generation is scary for me, man. How you can have that amount of quality in that 11 with Owen and Rooney, and obviously Gerrard and Lampard and Scholes, Beckham, Joe Cole, and then Rio and Terry as a partnership. That was unbelievable, man. Yeah, Ashley Cole, Gary Neville, Seaman. It's like, we should have won something, man. Should have won something with them lot.
No, I get it. Well, that kind of moves us on. And Mons has just joined us. I know Mons there in the background.
Big up to Mons.
How you doing, brother? Just kind of leads us into the conversation that I genuinely wanted us to have tonight. So obviously, we know England are playing, but as we start to now look, the season is, from a Liverpool perspective, kind of all or nothing rides on the Premier League. and we're just going to enjoy each moment as it comes in that competition. I know Manchester United, you guys have got Europa League still to keep an eye on, and the Arsenal, like you guys, are still closely monitoring the Prem in case Liverpool do slip up, in all fairness, as well as the Champions League. But I wanted to now start to think that this is why I brought this show together, really, because as a cartel, and you can see by the thumbnail, there are people above our managers that make huge decisions that impact how we can operate as clubs. And people always level it against us anyway. You are the Red Cartel. You're trying to keep all the power. You don't want all the chase impact to gain any ground on you. But for me, this feels like potentially one of the biggest summers in, respectively, if I was to put all three of us together in the conversation, it feels like the biggest summers. And what I mean by that, and I'll let you come in afterwards, is the fact that if the season pitters out on Arsenal aren't successful in Europe and fall behind Liverpool to not lift in the Premier League, that is a huge amount of pressure for Mikel Arteta to go into, because there are certain areas that have to be addressed in the summer. Man United, in the same breath, struggling in league form ultimately, and Amarin didn't get really backed in January. Okay, he's made a couple of acquisitions, Heaven, and I think the other right back, or was it a left back that he's got? Dogu, yeah, which is again fine, but it's a drop in the ocean in comparison to what's needed. And then, of course, the huge elephant in any Liverpool fans' room at this moment in time is the transfer situation that has rumbled on all season now, which we know will rumble on into the summer after the Premier League is well and truly sewn up and won or lost, whichever way that goes. So huge amounts of work that need to be done from, you know, the likes of Ineos, Jim Ratcliffe, the likes of Josh Kroenke, the likes of Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards at Liverpool in terms of the bag. So what I want to do in terms of a little experiment now is we're all going to start with 100 mil baseline. You can raise with some outgoings and try and raise some money. And there might be some little bit of competitiveness. You might want a player that I want, and we'll have to bid for them and put our best case forward. But we've all got 100 mil going into this summer now. I want to know from you lads first, what areas are you addressing with what money to buy which player, and how does that look?
Where'd you fucking start with United?
Let's have a bit of fun with it.
United need more than 100 million, so he can't.
We all probably need more than 100 mil, but I thought if we start having silly money that like I don't want to be putting fake hope out there. I feel like 100 mil for the size of our clubs should be lightweight. We should be able to slap 100 M's on the table and start our transfer with it. And again, don't get me wrong. If Dan says to me, I want to sell Bruno for 70 mil, he's got 170 mil to spend thereafter. So I want to see what your squad look like. You get me? I want to see what you would be doing if you were board of directors, sporting directors now.
I think fortunately for United, the one thing I will say is we've got a few players that are out of contract that are on ridiculous money for what they are. You know, you've got Lindelof, 120 million, 120 grand a week. You've got who else have you got? You've got Anthony that we can potentially get rid of. He's on 250k. Is one I'd say that was probably going to be out the door. He's on 350k a week. Rashford, who is in the England squad, brilliant for United. It's more publicity and people looking at him. He's on 350 grand a week. So for United, I think the positive is the wage bill, which has been ridiculous for the level we've been playing at for so long. I've only gone with four. I slightly miss. I've gone with four positions that I think we need to desperately sort out. And unfortunately, I would have loved to have put goalkeeper in there, but with the 100 million, I thought there was other players we needed to look at. So the first I've gone a centre midfielder. I've gone for a right wing back. I've gone for a striker, and I've gone for a second. I've utilised the free transfers. So I'm bringing Angel Gomez back to United as a squad player. That doesn't impact the 100 million. I think for what we need there, he's got energy. He's done well at Lille. The French league isn't the best league, we know that, but I think he battles there. My main thing out of all of them would be a striker, and I don't know if anybody's heard the rumours this week that Napoli are potentially looking at Højlund.
I don't know.
Would really
my Wi-Fi stands on your end.
No, it's his. I thought it was mine for a minute.
Yeah, I thought it was on. Your Wi-Fi seems to be lagging in and out a little bit, Dan United.
Is it? Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if the Hoyland transfer route is true, I'd be absolutely go. And mate, Potts, you laugh, but I mean, Christ,
I'm laughing at your Wi-Fi, bro. I'm
No, it
laughing.
sounds no. His idea sounds good, but he just can't get the point across. You know.
I'm logging out and coming on my phone. I'm not having this. I'll be back.
All right, no worries. Go on. Well, we'll speak. We'll speak to Just D for the time being. Just to talk to us about what you think. You know, to that point, Dan just said, you know, United need a striker. Arsenal are going to need a striker. Liverpool potentially. I feel very strongly we do need another striker to come in. Who do you go for in this? Because I think we touched on England not having great strikers. I don't think strikers across the world right now are killing it the way that they used to 5-10 years ago. I think there's a real lack in real quality strikers. If I'm being honest with you, who would you be looking for in that department?
Well, in our situation, the only issue that I have with Arsenal the most, this is my biggest gripe with them, is that for some strange reason, everyone seems to know how to solve our puzzle. And when I say that, what I mean by that is when you talk to all football fans, managers, coaches, players, talk to anyone, they will all say Arsenal need a striker and a left winger. That's what every single person will say. And I really don't like the fact that if you talk about Man City, you talk about Liverpool, people will say, oh, he needs a left back, or he needs a defender, or he needs a... You can kind of unpick it and kind of get your point across and you have a debate about it. With Arsenal, it's every single person can solve our problem. I don't like the fact that our problem is so easy to solve. So for us, our thing is more a striker and a left winger. Now, I've kind of had enough of finding players that can play in multiple positions. I think we've gone past that stage now. We're now at the stage where even if we had, say, 150 million, I want 2 players, left wing and striker. That is all I need. I don't want any other... I don't want no backups to Saka. I don't want no backups to Odegaard. I don't want no backups to...
Not even after this season, you wouldn't think it was a wise move to have a backup to Saka, because obviously the drop off is huge. If he gets injured again for any sustained period of time, the drop off on that right hand side, even if you do solve the left and the striker, it's still a big drop off now. Or is Nanieri enough?
You can do, but that's not where I'm at. I'm at striker and left winger. Splash the cash on a striker and left winger. I don't want any more.
That you will after Luis Diaz. Would you take him?
I don't want Luis Diaz.
Why not, bro? He's not in the Premier League.
You keep him. That's your player. You could be entitled to him. Errol, you keep your guy. You keep your players. We'll keep ours. I don't want.
I'm trying to up my kitty. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get some money in the bank before I start spending.
I'm now shopping in. I'm going up to Waitrose and that now. I've had enough of shopping in Lidl and Aldi. I'm going now. Wow. I want the potentially, because what I like to do, I like to actually look at realistic targets and targets that I feel like would be beneficial to our team. So, like I say, Arteta's in overdraft. I've said this for a minute. He's done well, and I'm still Arteta in. I know a lot of people are Arteta out. I'm still Arteta in, but he's lost his privileges. You know what I mean? He's now on basic rations. You can't now buy me players that I don't. You know, a lot of the time when managers buy players, you have faith in the manager, and you'll be like, "Oh yeah, okay, let me see how it goes." You've lost that for me. There's no more seeing how it goes. You buy players that I also agree are the right players for the club. That's where I'm at. So to me, it's the strikers that you know. Because see, Isaac has got the same type of stats as Chris Wood. But the difference between Isaac is that it's who he scores against. Stats can't tell you what his goal was, what the time was, and who it was against. That's the difference. So for me, it's players like Isaac, players like Semenyo, players like Kudos, players like
you got 100 M's. I feel like if you're gonna go, if you getting rid of, because I don't think any of us could prize Isaac away from Newcastle at this particular moment in time with 100 M's.
No, Man United can't. Man United can't.
I don't think Liverpool can. I don't think Arsenal.
No, but I feel like we can. I feel like we actually can.
For 100 M's, you think you can turn up to Newcastle now?
Well, if I've got to raise some cash, then I'm going to be selling players like Zinchenko. I'll be selling players like I'll sell Trossard and get Semenyo. You understand? You can get 20-30 million for Trossard and get Semenyo in. If you say to Trossard at the end of the season, you're going to be a squad player, and he says no, you sell him. Okay. Simple as that. Players like Martinelli are keeping the squad. I don't need to sell players like Martinelli yet. They can be bench players. Martinelli, Havertz, those guys are bench players now. I feel like we've had enough of that to not accept that they're bench players. I'm going to be buying players like I'll sell Trossard and buy Isaac. So you can raise 30 million. I've got 100 million. I've got 130 on Isaac. That's how I'm going with it. I'm
You're
not
getting
doing
a left winger right now with that. So right, I will pause you there. So you say, for example, look, I'm not going to go into a bidding war with you for Isaac. Say that you were able to cop Isaac from Newcastle. I'll hand over to Dan Pot. He's blew his part of the budget there. He still reckons that there's a left winger needed for Arsenal. Dan Potts, how are you raising the funds now to complete that Arsenal squad? Because I feel like he's got to work as a team in this. I know I didn't give you opportunity to agree that signing, but if
he might be like That's what I'm saying. I might be like Berta. He might be like Eddie. You never know. I don't know what type.
We're about to find
out. The most positive signing we can make is Berta, bruv. Yeah, Berta comes in, and I'm excited for our window, and hopefully that gets done ASAP. I don't think 100 million touch the sides for Isak. I think they'll go 150, 180, and they might even try and hold on down to that. I just don't think 100 M's is getting anywhere near Newcastle to go, oh, go on, then we give in. I think they're going to want much more than that. So I would go for Gyökeres, £80 million release clause. And then I go for a left winger. I'm with Just D. I go for a left winger that looks something similar to Nico Williams or a Lookman. I think when you look at what Waneri's done, it's backed up Saka pretty well. I think we need a proper creative midfielder as opposed to a right winger. I mean, obviously, that you've got the dream signings, right? You've got the Isaks, but that's not realistic, it seems. So go Gyökeres. The dream signing in creative midfield is Florian Wirtz. You might have to go Cunha. So that's where I'm kind of at this summer. I don't think we've got the 500-600 million pound that everybody wants to get the guys in for. So I think we have to be realistic in terms of raising some funds. Just quickly, I think natural wastage is how you're going to raise most of the funds, because Partey and Jorginho are out of contract. They're both on a lot of money a week. Kieran Tierney's on a lot of money a week. He's out of contract. Zinchenko is wanted by both Inter Milan and Dortmund. We believe he's on quite a lot of money. Trossard looks like he could be off to Saudi because he's rejected a new stay with us. He's only got 1 year left, so he has to go. So he's going to be probably off the wage bill. And then you've got the likes of Reece Nelson, Fabi Vieira, Marquinhos, Lokonga, Tavares. They're all going to go naturally. So you might get a few M's for them. You ain't going to get a lot. But actually, when you look at how many players there are, you can then build up 100 million and then go and put that towards your creative midfielder like a Florian Wirtz. That's the way that I'm looking at it.
And I understand that, and I agree for the most part. The thing that I would then be more concerned with from an Arsenal perspective is just by buying the two. D says, I want specialists, I want out-and-out winger, and I want an out-and-out forward. Dan even says, throw in, with the raised capital, throw in the pot for a creative midfielder. Okay, so you bring in those three players now, starters. Martinelli moves down to the bench, Havertz moves down to the bench. Have you got enough strength in depth? Because the names that you reeled off on that list, them pots, there must have been upwards of 7 or 8 players that...
Easily. There's about 11 that could be leaving.
11 that leave and 3 that come in. Is there a squad imbalance there or what?
Yeah, but there's probably 8 that didn't start this season, Errol. Do you know what I mean? Okay. So, you know, like most of the players that I said there are players that haven't kicked a ball this season, like Fabio Vieira, Marquinhos, Lokonga, Tavares, even Kieran Tierney and Zinchenko have hardly kicked a ball this year. If they weren't about this year, you wouldn't have missed them because they've been playing glimpses. So most of those are going to be natural wastage. I think Partey and Jorginho is an issue, if I'm honest, because... we're going to have to come and bring in a couple of midfielders. You can't get rid of the whole of your midfield. You're going to have to look at it. And there's only Rice and Marino that are going to be starting at the moment. The other two are going. So we're going to have to bring a couple in there. Zubamendi's being linked and rumoured. I like Reinders over at IC Milan. I love Rodgers, but I think that would be too much. But they're the sort of names I want to be seeing coming into Arsenal. And then, of course, you've got to look at replacing Kivior and the goalkeeper, who I think are quite easy to replace. So if you would, say, example, get your £20 million back for Kivior, which you should pretty much be able to get because in this market, that's nothing really. And then, obviously, a backup goalkeeper. We linked with Juan Garcia at Espanyol. And you went and sorted yourself out with a centre-half. I don't really care who it is either. I quite like Milenkovic over at Forest, somebody like that. And then you start to build from the midfield up because that's where Arsenal are struggling. I think defensively we're stacked. You know, I'm on the other side of the fence to Just D. I've had enough of Mikel Arteta if he doesn't win a Champions League this year. 5 years to me at a club the size of Arsenal is sorry, man, that's way too long. But he's going to stay, so there's no point having the Arteta out debate because he's here. He's here for another good few years. So I think for me it needs to be a brilliant summer, and I'm excited by Berta. And I'll be saying if I was the owners, Mikel, please stay away. You've messed up the windows too many times.
Is that a big
It's
sign
about-
of ambition for you getting someone like
Yeah.
Berta in them pots? That's a
Massively,
show of
bro.
intent.
It's the only person that I believe since the Cronkies have taken over, they've appointed that has serious amount of experience, that is winning experience. And you can talk about Sven Mislintat before and Raul Sanlehi. They did all right jobs, to be fair. But what Berta and Simeone have done at Atletico Madrid to win trophies, playing alongside Messi's and Ronaldo's on the opposition sides, that for me holds a lot of credit for me. And I know Simeone's got a lot to play with that as well. But I know for a fact the relationship was a love-hate relationship, and they won so much together that you have to look at that as being a huge experience. And I would go as far to say that if we do not have the summer that is expected, I would expect Berta to walk, and it would be a Kroenke problem.
Well, the mad thing is, I always take the piss and say that Arteta is the Spanish Brendan Rodgers. He could be the Premier League's Simeone if the Berta team comes off, because that defensive style, not necessarily style, but he's been a lot more pragmatic this season compared to his previous 2 seasons when he was going for a title. That style kind of leans into the Simeone playbook, really, of kind of being able to have the dark arts, win ugly, defend really well, keep clean sheets, have a good defensive base for your side anyway. So there could be something in that. I don't know, Mont, I don't know if you're knocking about there. I know you're still on mute, but if you're about, let us know, because I'll come to you in a second and ask about Liverpool. But Dan, I'll let you finish. I can't hear you, so if you are about there, bro, let us know very quickly. 100 M's is your starting baseline for Liverpool. If you're Michael Edwards, what shots are you calling in the boardroom this summer? If you can hear us still, Mons.
I think that's got a nice little ring to it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
you. Can you hold on? Yeah, it's a bit late on mine. Hold on. Let me jump back in and jump back out because it's clapping.
Okay. He's got Wi-Fi
lagging.
supply. He's got Wi-Fi supplied by the Glazers as well. Okay, Dan, we'll come back to you then first, and we'll just have a quick question then again. Round off your point for us that you was trying to make before.
Yeah, I don't know how much you heard. Literally, obviously, we've seen things. Is it bad? Is it all right, mate? Thank God for that. I didn't want to start saying that line, and then you all go,
No.
Have
you got cue cards? Have you got cue cards? You can just put them.
Is it so bad?
Yeah, you sound like a robot.
Oh my God. Honestly, if Williams do it again, let me go off the Wi-Fi.
This is like Star Wars, bro.
He did sound like he was underwater, but
Just quickly, boys, who do you think will have the better summer out of the three of us?
I think
that's a really good question, because it's so hard to say at this moment in time, because I personally feel as though Liverpool have to be active in the transfer market. Whether that equates to being a good summer is a different story. And I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. Say, for example, we say we lose Trent and lose Salah, but then we bring in Frimpong and we bring in Isak. I could see that being justified as a good summer. Is that enough, though? But people would still say that's a good summer because we kept Van Dijk and we've replaced the other two.
That'd be a quality summer, bruv.
But again, it doesn't strengthen the squad. And then again, the same problem from our Liverpool's perspective still lies that, okay, now we've got Isak. The way that we approach games in terms of far forward line is going to change. But who's going to be the complementary man next to him? Is it just going to be Isak and Gakpo carrying us for the entirety of the season? Because we know Diaz is incapable of doing it. We know Núñez is probably going to have to go the other way or go some way if we do get Isak. And we know Jota is probably going to end up going in a deal somewhere.
Injured.
So
Injury.
to me, two injury pros. So to me, that leaves us a little bit short by just replacing the ones that are going to go out the door naturally anyway. I could see there being volume, but I don't know if we necessarily replace the marquees or the talisman within our squad. I would probably be at this moment in time saying lowest hanging fruit to have a good summer is United. United just need to rebuild and bolster the squad and get some.
I agree.
fresh
I
bodies
think
in.
United will have the best summer out of the three of us because they have to start again, whereas
Yeah.
we're all
Do
trying
I
to top.
sound like a robot?
A little
No,
bit
you're
less.
right.
Go on,
No,
go
you're
on.
okay. You're
Fucking fantastic. Let me fucking say what I want to say about United, man. Jesus. Potts, you're completely right. I think United will have a strong summer this summer, but it's more about the players that they're going to be looking at. United aren't at the head table anymore, getting the big boys. It ain't happening like that, which is why I think they have to be smart and savvy with the signings that they make. Hence why we had Dorgu in January, and we got the steal of Aiden Heaven. Now, Aiden Heaven isn't the answer. He's not going to be a starting centre back for the next couple of years for United, but he's done well in coming in and doing what he's doing. The point I was making about the striker, if this fucking internet doesn't fuck me off again, is I would be open to utilising Højlund to go for Osherman, because I feel like Osherman, the only team that are going to rival Manchester United, I think, for Osherman is Chelsea. Whether or not you'll go to Chelsea is another question completely. But they have to be smart. We're going to have to utilise players leaving, utilise players as bait to get rid, and I think that has to be the biggest signing.
Is that fake there? Kobe Mainu leaving, money in?
He's not going anywhere. He wants more money for his contract. He isn't going anywhere. I can't see it. Not with the way that Amorim is setting the team up, where he is putting a lot of trust and faith into the young players that are at Manchester United already. I think he'll be looking at the likes of Mainu to build around 100%. We'd be foolish to let the kid go, but we do need to bring in a midfielder that gives the lad a break, because I think towards the end of last season and the start of this season, we saw what Manchester United have done for the last 5 years with youngsters, which is heap too much pressure and not allow them to develop as a footballer. So I would fully expect Mainu to stay. I don't see him going anywhere.
Okay. And in terms of that 100 million, then how much of that 100 million is going on Osman then? Would you say?
If it's part X with Højlund, because let's not forget Højlund got a good reputation in Italy with Atalanta. So I still feel like he's a striker that I think would work in the system they play. I feel like if we were to do something like 30-40 million plus with Osh, I think that would be fine. I'm more than happy to lose money in Højlund, because the simple fact is the old times of what we've spent on players, the stupid amounts of wages and all these things, it has to stop, and we just have to restart it again. And I don't think we would go out there and spend outright 60-70 million for Osherman. It would have to be part X.
So 63 million release clause, isn't it? So
But for Osherman,
yeah,
I'm not wasting me 100 million with that, mate. I need some change for some other lads.
Okay. Well, we'll go to Mons then, because obviously I've kind of vaguely gave a bit of an opinion on what Liverpool should be doing, but I thought I'd ask Mons. If you're back, Mons, let us know. Do give me a quick heads up, shout us, because I want to get some Liverpool perspective to kind of see exactly what we should.
Is
be
it better
doing.
now? Can you hear me now?
That's much better. Yeah. You've got 100 M's to spend this summer, Mons. If you're Michael Edwards, what areas in this Liverpool squad are you addressing to either rebuild or throw the till at?
Do you know what? It's hard because it's so dependent on what happens with Mo, Virgin, and Ali. Do you know what I'm saying? It's so dependent on those three. But let's just say we lose one of them. For me, I still think left back outside of the three is a priority. Like we have to go and get a Kirkes. Kirkes would be a great shout for me, I think. Even if maybe you're looking at, I know Ait Nouri was linked before. Anthony Robinson is a shout that people like. I also think Jed Spence is a good option, but the top of that list for me just has to be Kirkes. We've got the links with Richard Hughes. Do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's a deal. How could we not go for a player like Kirkes? Do you know what I'm saying? Got the Hungarian connection with Sobo and whatnot as well. So it just makes a lot of sense to me. So that would be, regardless of who goes contract-wise.
How much are you looking to spend? How much would Bournemouth want for a Kirkes in today's market?
I'm thinking 30, 40 in that region.
Okay. I think that's
30,
reasonable.
40.
Would you take Mons? Would you, if you just took Kirkes and then kept Van Dijk and Salah, because Trent's going to go in to Real Madrid, would you take that as a summer if you only got Kirkes and signed the other two and kept them?
Not for the whole summer. No, I can't, because for me, even if we kept the big guys, we still need there's work in that front line. For me, I had an epiphany on Tuesday.
Who stays? Who's whoa? All right,
I've had an epiphany. I've had an epiphany, guys.
I'm listening. Go on.
I've had an epiphany, man. I was watching Valverde. I've been watching Marcus Llorente. You know what I'm saying? I've seen Caicedo do it. You know, listen, for me, I believe we need a 10 that can create, but we also need help for McAllister and Gravenberch because their legs will go at the same point next season, and we're gonna have the same problem when it gets to the knockout phase of the Champions League and you gotta play those big European nights. You know? Now, obviously, I know it's a bit extreme when you're hearing Sobo right back and whatnot, but if Trent does leave and Mo and Verge stay,
Yeah, we
then
just lost
for
about
me,
20
Bradley,
people in the room when you said that. So yeah,
like,
Well,
listen,
I'm thinking, what's going on there?
I know. Hear me out. There's a method to the madness, you lot. There's a method to the madness. I'm not even just trying to be edgy. I understand. I think Soboslai is good enough to be in our starting 11, but for me, the fact that we have a defensive 10 makes me sick.
but that's a really Zinchenko-esque move
I know.
there. I don't know if Slot comes from that Pep playbook of saying you come as a 10, but I'm gonna move you to right back and try and get.
Sobo, was he ever a 10 though, guys?
I
genuinely.
I think he was. I think he's
was
meant to
a
be
winger.
box to box, and to be
was
fair, on the right hand side, he was.
He was a winger, and he's done the box to box shift in it. He's done the shift because he's got the physicality to play a numerous. And also, people remember we beat up Arsenal. You know, in pre-season, he played in the pivot with Gravenberch, and we beat up Arsenal. You know, like he isn't as bad in the pivot as people might think. He's someone who doesn't really like to make risk-taking decisions in tight spaces, and that's what you need as our 10. I understand why he's there for balance, but for me, I do think seeing him at right back or seeing him in the pivot next to maybe how about this? Even dropping him into the pivot, I wouldn't mind seeing that. Because for me, I would bring in a left back in Kirkes. Ryan Cherky is the next one that I'd like to bring in as the 10 for me. That's 20 million. He's not
from playing in France.
Say that again.
Yeah, Leon, he's quality.
Leon,
yeah, for Leon.
Okay,
As I said, for me, I know this is another hot take. I think he's, in terms of dribblers and ball manipulation, I think he's top 5 in Europe. Top 5 in terms of ball manipulation, not player, not top 3 or 4, 5, 10 in the league.
What does that mean, though, man?
Again, ball. Listen, you lot. Listen.
What is ball manipulation?
I watch Leon. I watch Leon because of Ryan Cherky, bro. He is that good. He is that good. Now, people talk about his attitude. They talk about his running. They talk about his running. Sorry. For me, like if it's up to him, if he wants to let himself down at Liverpool after getting a big move from Leon, then Harvey Elliott will be there. So it's not the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? Harvey Elliott is more than capable of stepping in and being competition for Ryan Cherky. So for me, it'll be Kirkes, Cherky, and that's probably about 60 million, up to about 60. So that's 20-25 euros. 30-40 for Kirkes. We're looking at about 60 million spent. Now, for me, Nunes is probably going to go.
So you've raised another 60 mil in selling him. I don't think we'll accept anything less than 60 mil.
Yeah. Oh, and that's Saudi, so that's cash. So that's, you know what I'm saying? That's cash money in front, right in the briefcase. So for me, I'd like to bring in. Obviously, we all know Isak's the prized possession. I know you guys have spoken about Isak and whether we'd be able to pull up with 100 million or not. I'd like Acuna for me to take the place of someone who can kind of play left and up top and in the 10. I know he's quite versatile, but in terms of striking options, I'm not a massive fan of the Gyökereses and I think he's a good player, but for Liverpool Football Club, I'm not sure there's many strikers out there that will just do the job outright outside of maybe Isak. Like in terms, do you know what I'm saying? I just think that
Alvarez is worth a shout because I'm seeing his name getting floating about quite a lot.
Alvarez is a proper shout, but I still see him as a bit of a second striker as to an actual out and out 9. He's a little bit similar to Jota in his stature. He's more fit than Jota, of course. And if I was to replace anyone with Jota, if he was to go, Alvarez would be my number 1. But I do like the look of maybe an Mbeumo. I know he's a right-sided player, and I know Mo Salah's there, but Mbeumo is someone who can play up front. You know, Cunha's someone who can play up front. So I don't think it has to be Isak. But Gyökeres, I feel like, is a little bit more like that Nunes type of guy. I'm not saying he's the same. He's better than Nunes. But I'm not sure if I'm with the PMP brute strikers. I don't think it works for Liverpool. I don't think it works.
What about this guy? Because we haven't really touched on midfield. I think the focus so far has been defence, 10s kind of, but more forward-minded players. Here's a name,
Yeah.
and again, people having to go back to Brighton's.
Baleba, yeah.
Brighton's conveyor belt of talents that comes in ridiculously cheap.
Unbelievable
to the
money,
country.
though, isn't it? Like Brighton are asking
Ridiculous,
mad money, man.
What's the price tag they're floating about? Is it 60s, 70s, 80s?
Nah, it's more than that, isn't it? Aren't they asking like close to 100 million, like Caicedo money?
Wow.
I'm sure they are. I might have got that
Definitely.
wrong, but
Definitely.
It's Caicedo part 2, no?
yeah,
It's Caicedo
yeah. I
part
mean,
2.
I haven't seen enough of him, if I'm honest. Everyone's raving about him. I watch Brighton, but I don't focus in on his game. I'm hearing good things, but I think that's a hell of a risk, man, personally. But, you know, look, I don't know if... I don't know what Liverpool... Like, Liverpool have been telling me Ryan Gravenberch is player of the year. Now they want a 6. Like, so where's he going to play then? Is he the backup number 6?
No, it's more for rotation. It's more for rotation because
and I think that's always been the case. Even having him do as well as he's done, I still think there was always a case that he can't do it the way Rodri does it all season and then not expect to get some level of burnout or some level of drop off, I should say. So I think there's been an expectation that there should have been
and Rodri said he needs the rest
more
as well.
And yeah, Rodri clearly did need the rest, but I think there should have been someone more stylistically closer to Ryan Gravenberch than there is Endo, because Endo is trusted to do the shut up shop job, but he's not trusted to be the foundation to start a game for 10, 15 games.
And when we interviewed, when Slot was interviewed about Zubimendi and he finally kind of came out and spoke about it, he did say that Zubimendi wasn't a bona fide starter for Liverpool. He said his idea was to rotate him with Gravenberch. So Gravenberch was always going to be converted to the pivot role. That was always something he was going to do. It's just whether he would have someone to kind of rotate, save the legs. And, well, it looks like we did kind of need someone. I think the issue is that there was no number 2. Or it was like, well, it's Zubimendi or bust. And that's why I don't really respect that way of thinking personally. Because now, look.
The thing that I think is quite interesting now, this goes back to the Arsenal lads. Are we going to get another starter in midfield for less than 100 bags now? Because Declan Rice, the Caicedos of this world, the Jude Bellinghams of this world, the Enzos of this world now, even when you then look at the other end of the scale and you see how much Liverpool got McAllister for and Gravenberch for, teams are probably thinking, hang on a minute, if one of these Red Cartel clubs come knocking on our door for a midfielder to be transformative and actually shake things up to be in their starting 11, the value has to be in and around 100 mil, surely.
I think
there's no gems anymore. Yeah, there's no gems. The gems are like the days of finding players and turning them into superstars, that's kind of gone. You have to you kind of wait for them to come to the Premier League to see how they do. Look at the kudos. Even Isaac, yeah, fair enough. He was at Sociedad. He comes over. Everyone's like, oh, let's have a look at him first. You come over. You got Tonali. You got Bruno. All of those guys are all gems that everyone could have got. But they're deciding to see how they fare first, and then we'll come and get them after. I don't think teams are too worried about buying those players. But the problem that you have now with a lot of teams is everyone needs similar players because everyone plays the same way. So no one can look at any team and say, oh yeah, I need that guy for my system. Everyone plays the same system. Everyone needs the same players. That's every single team needs Isaac.
Well, that's where maybe Chelsea had a bit more of an advantage though.
The only team that don't need Isaac are Man City. That's the only team that don't need Isaac.
In fact, you know what? I'll change my mind. I'll change my mind.
Go on.
I think because I don't like the idea of out and out number 9s in this current crop of players, I probably might look at João Pedro and maybe go and get a goal scoring left winger.
I like him.
But for João Pedro, you're spending 80-90 million.
Is it 80-90 million? I don't know if it's 80-90 million. But
anyone from 60. I mean,
no way. I think it'll be closer to 60.
To do a deal with them for 45 for McAllister. I think my thing is from a Liverpool perspective is if we lose Mo Salah, and I'm just thinking of the forwards, Salah goes off his own conviction, he's out of contract. I still need Jota and Diaz bare minimum to go. That means then if we don't end up getting the Saudi money for a Núñez, we've only really got Gakpo. And I'm not saying you can build the thing around Gakpo, but Gakpo can sit on occupy the left. Who's going to go through the middle and who's going to go through the right? And for me, I need equity. I need the goals to be shared about because it can't be lopsided in the way that it's been lopsided this season. Because, all right, we've been fortunate to tell us that loyalty with us and he's done it for year on year. But what's to say the next guy doesn't come in and only want to do it for 2 seasons and then goes off?
But that's why if we lose Salah, like that's I'm not. In fact, you know what? That's why we can't lose Salah, because there's so many, like, we don't know about Chiesa, as you said, Jota, Diaz, and Darwin Núñez. Their futures aren't certain. If 5 out of the 6 of our futures of our forwards aren't certain, we're in a little bit of a sticky one. I'll be honest. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I know it's that's crazy to me. That's crazy. So if Salah stays,
these boys know I've been shouting that for the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
We've got the most firepower up top as well. And this season, they made me look stupid. I can't lie. It's really been Salah FC up top for us this season. Gakpo's come in and he's been clutching in big moments. But Jota's been a sick note. Diaz, he's only scored 4 goals since the 21st of September or something, and
we've been like that as well, though. Errol, to be fair, I think a lot of teams have, man. Like Saka FC, Salah FC, Palmer FC, and even him this season hasn't been great in the last few months.
No, but your talismans, your talismans, though. Like that, I don't believe in saying, "Oh, you man are just a one-man team." Well, yeah, I'm not saying that's the way to go forward, but you know, Miko Marino has more goals than I think 3 of our guys in 2025.
So's Guarneri. So's Guarneri. But
yeah,
the point is,
but people, this is what I'm saying. So go on.
Yeah, but the point is, you're not trying to have one talisman, isn't it? That's the whole point. Even though you have one talisman, you don't want one. Your whole point is to try and create as mane as you can. So as much as you've got a Saka on the right hand side, you're trying to find another version of that on the left. That's the whole point of it. That's why when Liverpool had Mane and Salah, that's why they were so deadly. They had 2. That's why when Man City's that side that had Sterling and Sane, they had 2 versions: Messi and Ronaldo, not Messi, Suarez and Neymar. They're the whole front line of it. That's what everyone's trying to create. That's why, for me, as an Arsenal fan, you have to. When Saka's coming into his peak, Saka's 23, 24 years old. He's coming into his own. Now you've got to say, listen, I'm going to get someone that is on the same level as you to not help you out, but to distribute and to. If you got another version of Saka on the left. Do you know how deadly that team would be if you get a right striker and a person on the left? We only need 2 or 3 top players. But a lot of teams, they don't build on what they've built. They kind of feel
but bro, don't you think the level of some of these players how they look in the so-called mid-6 teams is still always some risk factor in there? Because look at Neto. How badly did Arsenal fans want Neto last season? Neto was
I did it. Yeah, well, me personally.
He was one of the top players. He was one of the top players outside of the big 6. Now, man, are looking at him funny.
Yeah, there are, but I still think there are players.
I don't want this done, no. I'll tell you now that Leao, brother, he can stay at AC.
I don't want Leao. I'm done with anyone that's in B category, even Tesco. I don't want that. I'm going Marks and Spencer and Rachel's. I'm done with going just below that level. I'm finished with all that. For us to overtake the Liverpool, and it's not just the Premier League. We've never won a Champions League before. I'm thinking about trying to create history with this team, this base that we've built. We've got a few players in our team that I feel like could become Arsenal greats. In players like Saliba, players like Saka and those guys. I feel like we're at that point. Players like Timber potentially. So I feel like right now is a time.
You know about Timber.
Timber's the best right back in the league, bro.
Is he world class?
100%.
World class.
You know what? Errol, me and you had. We already have an argument about this already. Errol. We've been through this already, bro. We've been through this for a good couple hours already. You and I, bro. If you want me to go back into it, feel free.
It's one of these ones. Timber hasn't even been better than Ola Aina, but anyway, that's another conversation.
Okay, yeah. If you say so. But anyway, my point is, we're at a point now where I feel like we've got a team that I feel are capable of doing major things, and I feel like you need to say to them, let me come and help you guys as well, because you lot are proving your point.
Do you know what angle we haven't really yet discussed, and we'll touch on it before we wrap up, lads? We're all out here trying to strengthen our own team, which is, I think, is the most logical thing to do every summer. You want to buy players that are going to improve your squad year on year. But the way that I'm seeing these chasing packs gain ground, the Bournemouths, the Forest, the Brightons, the Aston Villas, the Newcastles, and they're just the ones that are disturbing the status quo. You forget about the Chelseas, the Tottenhams, again, obviously United in that conversation, but you're part of the cartel, so we'll bundle you in this conversation, Dan. Who can we get to weaken them and strengthen us? That's what I think is probably going to be a real masterstroke. So I know you said Kirkes before as one from a Liverpool's perspective. You know, you're potentially looking at Isak from a Newcastle's perspective.
Kluivert.
Okay.
Nah, not Kluivert, man. It would be Semenyo from Bournemouth. It would be Semenyo.
Hear out the Kluivert thing, bro.
Nah.
Nobody taking anyone from Forest. Nobody taking anyone.
I'll take Olaena. If Trent left, I'll go get Olaena at 28.
Nah.
Really? Yeah.
Yep. Put him on a 3-year contract with one to extend, and then until then we let Bradley develop.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's a shout in that. To be fair,
I actually think there's. Some might think this is silly, but I actually think there's players that could come in and do a job that are outside of that. So, for example, Brian Mbeumo's been mentioned. He's at Brentford. Obviously, we mentioned Cunha at Wolves. I'm also like a fan of some of the players that have come outside of that bracket sort of thing, not just the Bournemouths, Brightons, and etc. So yeah, that's where I'm kind of at.
Yeah, I agree. Even Worcester, I agree. Even Worcester.
Adam Wharton at Palace, like at Palace, have got some ballers. Eze, do you know what I mean? So
Eze is going to cost you the same as it would cost to get a top player. That's the difference. That's the only problem.
English players are going to cost you a bomb, man. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, Wharton and Eze are going to cost you each 70-80 million minimum.
Easy.
So that's the only issue with that. If you want to spend 70-80 million on a player, I need him to be the guy now.
Potts and D, as Arsenal fans, did you not go for Jean-Philippe? What was that?
No.
I want better than that. I know it sounds snobby, but I do. I need a levels above that. I think. Look, I like Mattel. I do like Mattel, but I don't think he scored more goals than Kai.
I'd rather get Wissa as a second striker.
Mattel is better than Wissa, by the way.
No, he's not.
But I'm talking about as well the immediate ones that are knocking on the door, the Forests of this world as well, because Dave did it. Obviously, the likes of Chris Wood and the rest of it. But there's got to be and again, maybe if there is a premium that's attached to those players now. Maybe they know their worth and say, actually, yeah, we're just gonna have a premium.
What, Callum Hudson-Odoi resurgence?
No.
He's better than every single one of your wingers, D. He's better.
No, he's not.
Saka.
No, he ain't.
Your left wingers. He's better than Martinelli. He's better than Trossard.
Is he though?
We might not be miles better to sign him for X amount of money, but he's better. He's an upgrade.
Is he though?
He's better than Martinelli, brother. Martinelli's not, I don't even know if Martinelli's better than Garnacho.
Oh come on, let's be serious. Is Callum Hudson-Odoi better than Luis Diaz?
You can. I'm not gonna lie.
No,
there's an argument. There's probably an argument.
There's an argument for it.
You're talking to two men that don't really rate Diaz like that.
Diaz is a lot better than him, man.
I don't put Diaz on no pedestal. I think, don't get me wrong, I think the Diaz hate is overplayed, but he ain't on no pedestal. Is
he better than Ahmad? Is he better than Ahmad?
No,
he's not better than Ahmad. No, but Ahmad plays on the right. Yeah. So what are we doing?
Yeah,
Ahmad doesn't play left wing.
So what level are we putting Ahmad at then? What bracket is he in?
Ahmad's a good winger, but if he's your talisman, there's a problem.
Well, he is at the moment. Well, he was before he was injured. We relied on him heavily, absolutely heavily.
Yeah.
He was winning games on his own.
You shouldn't, and that's the thing. A team like Man United shouldn't have to rely on a player like Ahmad. And when I say a player like Ahmad, that's not disrespect, because I think Ahmad is a very good player, but he shouldn't be the reliance of Manchester United. He should be one of a crop of good players, in my opinion, for Man United.
But that's Manchester United, though. That's been Manchester United for the past few years. We get these youngsters come in, and that's what we load it on them. I don't see Hudson-Odoi as the guy, though. I think Hudson-Odoi. You've got to remember, still got those injuries problems. He's still in and out of the team with his fitness. I don't think you waste the money on him.
No, I hear, but do you know what it is? It's only because D's telling me guys like Semenyo, when Semenyo ain't been better than Hudson-Odoi.
Semenyo's better than Hudson-Odoi, bro.
Has he been better than Hudson-Odoi this season?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
definitely.
Semenyo's got like one goal in like the last 9 games.
He's better. He's better than him, man.
He's able to go. He's more versatile when he goes. He can go both ways. But
I saw Semenyo rip Liverpool to shreds. I saw him rip Liverpool to shreds. Bro,
Semenyo's done nothing.
Where'd they get him from? Was he Bristol City? Was he Bristol City originally? I think he was, wasn't he?
Bro,
yeah, he's definitely from one of those.
Semenyo's gone quiet, and no one's been speaking about him for a reason over these last 3 months, and maybe a bit longer than that. Kluivert is Bournemouth's best attacker right now.
No, but he's got to do it consistently, though. We've got to see Kluivert do it for 2 seasons, 3 seasons. He wasn't great last season. He had moments of magic, but this is the first season he's really gone out there and really stuck it. I think we've got to see more from him over the year.
I hear that, and obviously, not last season, but the season before, we saw glimpses of Semenyo. But I don't think Semenyo is that. I personally would prefer Kluivert to Semenyo. But
Semenyo gets in all of our teams. Semenyo, the difference is Semenyo gets in all of our teams here on the panel.
Doesn't. I can't even say Semenyo is better than. He's not better than Gakpo. He's not better than Gakpo. What are we doing here?
No, but Luis Diaz plays for you. I'm saying Semenyo.
Yeah, but that's only because Gakpo had taken Diaz's place on that left-hand side. But Gakpo's been injured, so
he's not getting in. He plays, bro. How about this? I start left wing for you, D. I don't want to hear that, bro. I'll be honest. Like,
but hang on, we're talking about a Liverpool side that have got 3 goals between them in Jota, Diaz, and who is it, and Nunes in the past 20 games. We're not talking about 3 guys right now.
Once and Errol, they do this a lot. They do this a lot. They plan to do this. That's what they do.
What are you talking about, bro? Gakpo, is Semenyo better than Gakpo? Yes or no? I stand corrected.
Oh, he's had the. Okay, let me ask you this question. Who's had a better season? Who's had a better season, Semenyo or Gakpo?
Gakpo's had a better season. What are we talking about? What are we doing here?
Gakpo's been clutch. He was the highest goal scorer in the Carabao Cup. He had a bag of goals in the Champions League. He's been our second highest goal scorer out of our forward line. Gakpo's about to potentially win a Premier League.
Semenyo's done nothing in 2025. Why am I not acting like Semenyo's been moving mountains? He's done nothing. It's been Kluivert. It has been Patrick Kluivert, and what's the other one? Onatra. No, but
I know.
But I'm not hyping up Diaz. We're not hyping up Diaz. We are saying, you said he gets into our teams. He will get onto my bench. He's not starting for Liverpool. He's not starting over that.
If Gakpo's fully fit, he starts left wing right now for Liverpool, which means that Semenyo isn't getting in ahead of him. Both fully fit. That's the argument.
That's a matter of preference, though, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's not.
It's not far and away. It's not far and away, though, is it? It's not far and away. You know what I mean?
He doesn't need to be far. But that's not the argument I'm having. You said he gets into our team, and we're saying.
I feel like he does. I feel like he gets into everyone's team, apart from.
I feel like you think Semenyo's a lot better than he is.
No, he's a brilliant player.
Do you think? So here's another question, or way of looking at it, though. Do you think? And again, I think the teams that we're talking about and referencing here have had at times better chemistry and better forward lines in the way that they operate. But do you think there's something in, if you cherry pick the best, the Semenyos, the Matomas, the João Pedros, the Cunhas, if you cherry pick those lads to put them in our teams, again, there's a more difficult conversation to be had for Manchester United, but the likes of Liverpool and Arsenal, they become better players because they're working with better footballers day in, day out.
Yeah, I think
agree.
Yeah, I think there's 2 ways to look at that, though. Some of them have stepped up and it's like, it ain't working. You could do it at Bournemouth. Can you do it at Arsenal? There's some that are like, wow, where the hell did you find him from? He's unbelievable. And now look at him. He's balling out at Liverpool, at Man United. So there is always that. I feel like there's been some examples of that where you think, wow, they bought him from. To be fair, Liverpool are actually a really good example of that. When you look at Wijnaldum doing it at Newcastle, then he come and did it at Liverpool. Jordan Henderson doing it at Sunderland. Robertson at Hull. Even Sadio Mane was balling out at Southampton, but then he's gone and done it at Liverpool at the top level. Van Dijk's another example, but you've also got other examples of like.
But to recreate that Potter, you're asking a lot.
Mane's a weird one though, because Mane did it at Liverpool and then he went to Munich and was abysmal. It's weird. It all depends on the way that you're playing, the players you're with, the system. I feel like this is we're talking about his players. They've got to fit the system that you bring them into, or else they just look out of place. Square pegs, round holes situation.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's interesting. Again, I think we've established. I think Manchester United by far should have a better summer based on the size of the work that's the task at hand for them. I think Liverpool is very much on a knife edge, and I can see it being a turbulent summer, if I'm being completely honest. And I think Arsenal probably have the least work to do, but they have to be serious in their approach. I think, as Dee said a couple of times, it can't just be a case of fleshing out squad players or getting utility players.
Can't be another summer, man. Can't be another summer like we've had.
It has to be
with Arsenal, with the Arsenal boys. I've been in this situation when United was starting to tail off, where it was like, okay, this summer we know we need 2 or 3 players. Let's go out there and get them. this summer's so key for you because you have to go out and get these 2 or 3 players. You can't do what you did this season. Go out and get Calafiori. Who else you got? Have you only got
Marino.
Yeah, Marino. It has to be players that you actually need to better the team, and I think that's where you failed miserably with the Premier League this season. It's the classic case: you buy when you're good, and I don't think you bought where you needed this summer, and this is why you tailed off so much.
Agreed. Totally agree. Needs to be a quality summer. I need to look at that and go, wow, this team's ready to go for a Champions League and a Premier League.
100%.
That's what I need. That's what I need.
We all need.
I think we will, though. I think we will.
And I don't think 100 mil is gonna touch the sides. If I'm being completely honest with you, in terms of the money, I think Liverpool are gonna have to raise funds. There's options there to do it, but I think we're gonna have to raise funds. United, definitely considerable amount of funds are going to need to be raised, and I think Arsenal are probably in the best situation of. You probably don't need to raise as many funds as you said there. The kind of the natural wastage, as Potts put it before, will probably take care of the allocation of where money can come from. And I think he'll probably have enough money in reserve to really splash on at least one key position. The other wastage might make up another 1 or 2 positions as well. But it will be interesting. If you had to go hard now with a hot take or a big gamble, I'm going to say mine in terms of the transfers, but I'll let you guys go first. Who, in your mind's eye now, do you get over the line this summer? Who is your club going to get? And it's not who you want, but it's who your club is going to splash the peas on. Let us know now. And in the comments, let us know who you'd spend your 100 mil on as well if you've been watching. Make sure you do the admin. Make sure you're following all these lads on socials. The handles are there right in front of you on the screen. Go follow them on Twitter, follow them on Instagram, follow them on TikTok. And please like and share the stream. As I say, we are out here week by week building this cartel roster, and we want to take you along on this journey with us. So we need you to do the work behind the screen because we're going to continue to do the work in front of the screen. So please help us with the content. Please share it. Please like it. Please get some comments on there as well. Let's build this up together as a bit of a community. But lads, go back to yourselves. Let us know who in this summer transfer window will you be signing?
Everyone.
For me, I know a name, but I don't want him. But we will be signing Sesko, but I don't want him.
No, I don't.
So
don't
you're more confident in
that is
Sesko
the
over
last person I
Zubimendi?
want.
Same.
So there was a lot of Zubimendi talk for Arsenal a couple of weeks ago. So
I think it'll be Zubimendi. Zubimendi and Sesko are going to be the 2 that we get, and I don't think that moves the needle enough. But that's just me.
I don't want Sesko at all. I got my funny feeling. The issue that I've got is I think he's going to try and put Havertz back in midfield. That's the issue that I've got. That's honestly the problem that I've got. I think you can't spend 285 a week on a player and not have him playing. That just doesn't make sense. But I feel like we're definitely going to get Zubimendi. I feel like that there's no smoke without fire. So I feel like that's kind of a big deal. But I do think potentially a Semenyo or Nico Williams. I think that a striker I'm not convinced about. Okay. I'm not convinced about a striker. Okay. I'll be honest.
And United, you said everyone.
Yeah, well, everyone. Anyone that doesn't mind bringing their own lunch with them. I go. I think Osherman. I think they'll go hard for a striker. I think it's proven this season. Amarim's not been impressed. Højlund obviously scored midweek against Portugal. Scored against Leicester at the weekend. But I think he goes hard for a striker. And I actually think that Inacio that he had at Sporting Lisbon, I think he wants that left-sided centre back. Yeah, because obviously Martinez is what was it 1-0? Oh no, it's a save. It's a key factor. We're getting rid of Lindelof. Evans is going again. Like I said before, I was cruelly cut off by my internet. Hayden's done well to come in, but I really want Hayden to be that lad that comes in, plays the cup games, gets the experience that way. So the 2 key ones is it has to be centre back and striker. And by the way, you were talking about Palace before and who I'd go out and get. I'd absolutely go out and get that Munoz, the right back. I think for United going up from 28, I think we'd probably get him for a decent price, not sort of stupid 60, 70. I think he's someone they could really go at. And also, I'd be going to Juventus and seeing if we could entice Douglas Luiz back. I really would. I think we get him for a decent price. So that's my 4 key areas. Would I love to get a goalkeeper? Absolutely. But I just have a weird feeling that Onana's going to stay for another season.
Fair. I will say with no real certainty, but with my gut feeling, I think I'm now officially Trent gone to Real Madrid. I think I'm resigned.
Just Trent?
Maybe Maybe no. I think it's the fact that everyone's worn me down on it and been telling me for so long that it's done and all the rest of it. I feel like it's just better to accept it now. But I've got a feeling he might have kicked the last. But I think that injury that he had against it was PSG, wasn't it, in the midweek? I think that might be the last time we see him kick a ball for Liverpool, which would be a really sad way to go out. But I've just got a feeling that it might just be too far gone now.
He's going, man.
Errol, I think Slot's got I think Slot potentially could have the worst job on his hands this summer. I really do. If you lose all three, we spoke about the
this is where I was going to go to. I don't think the all three thing happens, but no, I take your point. I genuinely do take your point. I think and it's only made harder by the fact that he's won something now as well, because the expectation is you now need to continue being a winner. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
We're almost in April, man. They're all going, aren't they?
They're all going.
I'm again now going to the conspiracy side of things, where Robbie Fowler came out the other day and said 2 of them have signed. I think 2 of them have given the strong indications that they will decide in the summer. But if the proposition is right, they would be happy to stay, which is why it's given the club the confidence to say, all right, we can work it out in the summer then. I don't think all 3 of them go. I genuinely don't. I think Van Dijk stays.
Going mad. Has someone scored? My TV's going mad.
Yeah, Skelly scored.
Has he really?
I must be just hang on, he's in here. He's
in there, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That
Meg's the keeper. Meg's the keeper. Good finish that.
Yeah,
it's in there, man. Let's go watch it.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's how we're going to wrap up anyway. And as I say, I think we do something for Salah and we do something for Van Dijk. Trent.
I hope Salah goes, Errol. I hate that bloke. I can't stand that guy anymore. He's destroyed my club time and time again. I can't watch him anymore.
Nice to hear.
Give me a break.
Well, we will be giving you another break because obviously we won't be playing for another couple of days. We won't be playing for over a week still. But Liverpool will be back. We take on Everton first game back from the international break. So hopefully, everyone comes back injury free, and there's been a few kind of concerns over the last couple of days, but touch wood, everyone comes back all free. Lads, I just want to say thank you again. I know massive night, Friday night, people want to watch England and all the rest of it, but thanks for joining us on the Cartel. Really appreciate it. I'm really enjoying these shows of late. So again, guys, please share the content, like the stream, subscribe to the channel as well. I think we need to start doing that, boosting the channel for Red Men too. And these lads will be back with us at some point next week for another episode of the Red Cartel. Boys, thank you very much. Over and out. Enjoy your weekend.